Hi, good morning. This is Lori Mieczkowski with the Welch team at Keller Williams Realty. We are here to talk about real estate in 2019 and what's coming in 2020. We have had a really strong year. So, such a strong year, in fact, that we have not seen the typical holiday slowdown that we usually see at this time of year. And we've got a very active buyer group out there right now, still looking for that right home and making purchase decisions. So it's all a very good way to end 2019, which has been a strong year overall. We have 30,000 homes, or we're approaching 30,000 homes that have been sold in the Northeast Florida area, as reported by the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors. So that is a really, really strong number, and means that a lot of folks have been able to make that change in housing and find that right home or move on to the next home that they've been possibly delaying for the last few years. So our inventory levels are still considerably strong, although low, like they are in most markets across the country. We are right now at about 8,000 homes on the market that are available for purchase. So if you're looking for a home, there are plenty of options out there for you. And our highest points in the year tend to be between March and July. And there we can see those home inventory levels rise to 9,000 to 10,000 in our market. So, some stability in Northeast Florida for sure in real estate. And for sellers and buyers, that's good news on both sides. Our price appreciation, which is typically questions that people always like to know, how much has my home grown in value over the last year? Over the last year here in the Jacksonville metro area and surrounding areas, it's been about 3.6%. Nationally, you'll hear reports of 5 to 6%, which is what's considered a balanced market. So we have a little slower price appreciation than some of the other market areas across the country, but we were somewhat insulated during the downturn as well. So that's typical and pretty normal. We are looking at days on market at about 67 days on market. So if you're listing your home and you're putting it out there for sale with a real estate professional, which we always advise, it should be about 67 days, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. So that is a number that we kind of gauge to just make sure that we're on track with our listings and that they're selling the appropriate amount of time. We're setting the right expectations for our sellers as well. So next question, where are we going in 2020? There's some conflicting reports out there right now. It's a little interesting, but overall, price appreciation is expected to slow a little bit. The market's supposed to stabilize out somewhat. So where we've seen about 3.8 here in Jacksonville, it's going to be about that across the nation. The rates have been 5 to 6%. Some market areas a little bit higher, but we're going to see some of that stabilize out, some of that flatten just a little bit. Mortgage interest rates have declined over the last year. They expected that we would go up to 5% in 2019, and that didn't happen. So the economists that we have been taking a look at out of the National Association of Realtors reporting say that we will actually, 2/3 of them, 69%, say that we'll actually see a decline in mortgage interest rates and the federal funding rate, and 31%, only one out of the three, say that we will see any kind of an increase. So mortgage interest rates should stay stable. Pricing should stay pretty flat or stabilized. It won't go down. It's not expected to decrease, despite some recent reports that it might do so. Those are isolated to some major market areas, and Jacksonville is not one of those. So overall, we're still looking at a good, healthy market in 2020. If you've got a need to sell your home, or if you're interested in buying, it's still a good time.
Yeah, we have a question.
Okay.
If somebody is thinking of buying or selling in 2020, what is the optimum time to do so?
So that's a great question, because the answer is probably one you would not expect. We all talk about the spring selling season, and March to really April to July can be that high point in the most busy season, but the absolute best day to list your home in Jacksonville is March 31st. And that is because we see homes that are listed on March 31st specifically will get 14% more views. They'll sell 9% faster, and they'll spend 6% less time on market than homes that are listed a little later in the spring selling season. So what you're doing is you're taking advantage of that early wave of buyers who maybe have been sitting on the sidelines in the early portion of the year, the first quarter of the year, haven't found what they're looking for, and they're waiting on that new inventory, fresh inventory to come out, and you can catch them before anyone else does. So great question. We love that. All right, bring your questions, folks. We're happy to answer anything that you might have out there. There's not a ton of other information that we can share. The big things are days on market, mortgage interest rates, where prices are going. The other things that we can tell you is, we have a strong, I'll tell you what the biggest question we get is, will we see a crash? And the answer to that is probably not. Economists say that 2/3 of the economists that are reporting and monitoring that say that there shouldn't be a crash. We've got some things happening in our market that just keep the housing market stabilized enough that to see what happened prior in the early 2000s probably won't occur again anytime soon. So some of those factors are our unemployment rates are extremely low. Job creation is really, really high and still really strong. And so that's a factor that contributes to keeping a healthy market. Interest rates are also extremely low and expected to decline possibly in 2020. So that's another factor. The one caution that we watch for is consumer spending, which is also very high right now because consumer confidence is good. So barring any international or government impacts that might possibly occur that we can't predict, we don't expect to see any kind of a market crash in any time in the near future or at any point that we could predict at this time based on the data that's available to us. The one thing that we did see as we were taking a look at some of the numbers is that if you're planning to sell your home, some of the larger economists, Dave Ramsey, in fact, says do it before 2022, I'm sorry, because in 2022, in 2 years, that might be when you really start to see that price appreciation start to slow, and you won't be able to take advantage of the market influences that will impact your equity in your home. So that's kind of what's happening out there. Another quick fact that is interesting, 50% of our buying group, the highest point of our buying audience right now is millennials. Are they going to be looking at your home? Absolutely. They're looking for homes in all markets. They have the most spending power. They're the largest group of the buying public out there, and they are looking for you online, and 90% of them will be represented by a real estate professional. So when you're getting ready to sell your home, or if you're getting ready to purchase a home, find a trusted real estate professional. We're always happy to help you here at the Welch team, of course. But that is something that's going to be really important for protecting your interests and making sure that you get into the right place.